The project shown in this video can be found in the textbook Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD, available from SDC Publications. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a block and then insert it into a drawing. To make a block, the first thing I want to do is to create some geometry that I can turn into a block. So I want to point something out to you. I'm on layer 0 here in AutoCAD, and I'm going to come over here and just pick on the rectangle command. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle, not any specific size. I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint here to the midpoint so that this represents what a window in a floor plan might look like. Alright, the next step is to turn this into a block. So I'm going to come over here to this icon, which is on my draw toolbar. This is the make block icon. I also have the option up here under the block panel to pick on create a block, and whenever I pick on it, it's going to open up this dialog box, and I'm going to call this window. Very creative name there. And one of the things I need to select for my window is a base point, and the base point is like the handle that when I reinsert the block or insert the block into the drawing, it'll be the handle that I'll be carrying the block around so I can place it exactly where I want it. So I'm going to pick on this button that says pick insertion base point, and for this block I'm just going to pick at the midpoint on this side of the window. So I'm going to pick right there. Alright, so now my block has a name and it has an insertion point, but it doesn't have the object selected yet, so I'm going to pick on this button that says select objects, and I'm just going to do a window around the entire thing and then press enter again. And then there's a couple of other things I can look at over here. I usually keep this checked where it says allow exploding, so if I did need to explode that block to make some edits to it, I can do that. I have the option too to retain the geometry after I make this block, which will keep this on the screen, but it won't be a block. Or by picking this, I can convert the geometry I see here to a block. It will remain on the screen when I pick OK, and it will be a block, or I can just delete it. So in this case, I'm just going to pick delete and pick OK. So my window block has disappeared. Now let me show you how to insert the block. I can come over here to the draw toolbar and pick, and I'm going to pick on my down arrow. So I made a block earlier named circle, but I named this one window. So I wanted to have at least two in here so you can see that as you create blocks, this list is going to grow. So we're going to pick on window, and when we pick on window and pick OK, you'll see that we're moving our window around. Now we could place it exactly where we wanted. We could type a coordinate, we could snap to a point on a line, but I'm just going to pick a point and place it in there. So that's how I insert the block that I just made named window. Now I want to show you something about this block. I made that block on layer 0, so I'm going to change to a different layer. I have a layer called layer 1, and layer 1 is red and it has hidden lines assigned to it. So I'm going to come over and insert the window block again. So I'm going to go, look, it says window here, it's defaulting back, pick OK, and pick again. And you'll notice that now it came in red and with hidden lines, and that's because when you create a block on layer 0 and then you insert it on another layer and that layer has other properties, that block will adapt to those layers. So that's an important consideration when making blocks, whether or not you want them to adapt or not. If you want them to adapt, create the block while it's on layer 0. Alright, so I'm going to press escape. So I have a block right here that's on layer 1. So, and it's a red block with dashes in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick on that and I'm going to explode it. Now I'm going to change some of the features of this block right here. I'm going to change its line type. Actually, I'm going to put it back on layer 1. Now remember, this is not a block anymore, it's just a rectangle and it's just a line because I exploded it. But it's back on layer 1. Now when I exploded it the first time, it went back to its original layer, which is layer 0. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a block of this which is actually on layer 1 and not on layer 0. So I'm going to go to my make block option. I'm going to call this one window red, R-E-D. I'm going to pick my base point. I'll just pick at the same point. select objects. I'm going to window the entire thing, press enter, and it'll delete when I make it. Okay, so now I'm going to insert this one onto layer 0. Now remember, layer 0 is a layer that's white, but when I insert this one, it's called layer red, pick OK. Because it was made on layer red, which was a layer other, made on layer 1, which is a layer other than layer 0, it will retain its characteristics regardless of what layer I put it in on. So even though this was inserted on layer 0, it stayed red hidden lines because the layer that I created it on had red hidden lines. So that's the flip side of creating something on layer 0. If you create it on a layer other than layer 0, it will retain its characteristics regardless of which layer you insert it on.